Good morning, traders. It is 3:38 a.m. We're going to take a look at a couple altcoins here. We're going to do three altcoins for this video. I am going to make a separate video for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So the altcoins we are going to cover today are the ones that we've been covering. We're going to start with CRO, move on to REN, finish up with XRP in that order. So Bitcoin bounce is underway. Gave you guys the key levels for that. So now we need to look at the altcoins and see about the recovery. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I did pretty much nail the bottom of this thing. CRO, we were looking for the 13-cent level to hold, as it was your golden pocket, if you recall, right here. And you also had your weekly point of control, your previous week point of control coming in there, and your monthly value area low. So we're going to leave up this monthly volume profile as it's going to be important for what we're going to say here. So we've gone down to the golden pocket, which was mentioned two videos ago, said this is actually where this thing can come all the way back down to. Want to hold this low. And so what I mean by that is we're going to talk a little market structure here, and then I'm going to give you guys the consolidation up here so that you guys know how to play this. This is a coin with not a lot of history. This is your structural low in the sense that these are the lows for all time right here. All time lows are right here. You want to make sure that at no point do you take these lows out, because then this is just a pump and dump and this thing can go much lower. Now, for the immediate short term or medium term, however you want to look at it, we want to see CRO hold this structure right here, coming in right around 12.49 cents, 13 cents if you want to use a round number. We want to see these levels hold, right? We don't really want to lose this area for market structure purposes, and that is just for the immediate move up, like the current trend, so to speak. Reason why is then you have made a lower low, you're likely to make a lower high and then come down and challenge these lows. Now that would actually be more bullish long term in my opinion, because this would be a much larger accumulation, and that would give you a bigger move in the end. So even if it does take these lows out and you come down to this region, what you'd be looking for is, can it come down here and form a higher low somewhere in this region right here? Because you don't want to take these lows out, obviously. These lows have to remain intact for the long term. But if you were to take these lows out, this low right here, and take down to a higher low, you would basically just be accumulating. And I think it's about 26 cents right here on the 4-hour, where your neckline would have been. And then you would also be at the monthly value area high, and that would be a much larger structure with a much larger target, right? And then we can look up to those other targets we gave earlier. So if something happens and CRO pulls back hard, that's what you guys should be looking for. I'm not looking for that right now. What I'm looking for is this B-shaped volume profile. You can see you've got a nice B, right? And so what this is going to denote is we have come up here and we didn't fill out the volume profile appropriately. Excuse me. So what that means is you had interest in this level at about 24 cents down to 23 cents. There's a lot of selling going on here, but there was no real buyer interest up at these levels. No one was really buying it with volume up at these levels to push the price through our first resistance, which I'm pretty happy about. Like, this was the first target, 31 to 33 cents, gave it to you guys, and voila, So if you guys aren't paying attention yet, you should be. This is how you trade these things. What you want to see is price come up here, and we really want to see it fill out this area right here. And the reason we chose this area is mainly because of volume profile and because of fibs, right? And so if we look at our fibs, you can see that this is our 382 to 50% retrace. And then you could come all the way up here to like the 26 cent range. But we'll talk about that. So let's say price comes all the way up here, comes through the box, hits the golden pocket, but then it comes down. What we want to see is, you want to see it start filling out this 382, or even if it comes back, you want to see this monthly at least hold. And that is indicative of a B-shaped volume profile. And so what you get in those instances is you're just basically testing buyer demand and seller demand. Is there enough sellers to push it back into this old like range, so to speak, where the bottom half of this B-shaped profile would then start consolidating? Or do we come up here, test the buyer demand to see if there's enough to push us to the upside? Let's say that there isn't. Let's say we come up here, we bounce around a little bit, come back down. What you want to see then is you want to see a quick rejection of this level and it hold, right? And so then it comes back up and you get something like this, and then you get a continuation pattern. And what did you form? You formed something like a symmetrical triangle, a pennant, whatever you want to call it. And so that is how those things happen per volume profile. So that is one option. The other option is you come up here and there is buyer demand and this begins to fill out. And what I mean by that is this node right here, how it's very thin, begins to stretch up. the thickness of it does. So you start getting more buyer interest in this level, which means there's still demand at these prices, which as per the auction would then state, okay, well, if there's demand up here and people are buying it, which means that there's not enough sellers to push the price down, people that are interested in getting in the coin are forced to buy at higher prices, which would then fill out this node, and then the price in terms is auctioned at a higher price because people aren't willing to sell here anymore. They will only sell if we reach higher prices. Now, this is still a resistance because just because we've tapped it once doesn't mean it's not, but it does mean that every time we tap it, it gets weaker, right? So the levels after that, obviously, we're looking at 49 cents to 51 cents, then 57, then 69 to 70 cents, right? So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but those are the levels should we get through this at some point. I'm not going to do daily CRO updates, but I will give you guys the rundown on what I'm thinking. So if you guys are interested in this kind of content, especially on other altcoins or Bitcoin is kind of what I make my bread and butter in. I'm a day trader by trade, but I do some swing trading as well, obviously, because if you're not swing trading Bitcoin, what are you doing? So that's what we're looking for. We're looking up to a test of this region, right? Giving you the box that we're looking for. You can go as high as the golden pocket here. Wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Ultimately, need to see these lows hold. Even if they don't hold, you do still have technically, per the overall history of the coin, you still have these lows beneath you, and forming a higher low would still be technically bullish, right? So that's what I've got for you guys. Get through the monthly. Let's go up here and challenge this other node. Form a range up there, fill it out a little bit. Even if you don't hold the range and you come down and retest this monthly or the top of this old range down here, you just want to see that hold and then come back up. So that's what you're looking for on crypto.com. I always say be patient as a trader, but this one has been like pumping and dumping super fast. So I wanted to give you guys both scenarios just in case, because this thing might not come back down and retest this volume profile again. It may just come up here, root around for a little bit, put in some form of a formation like it did here, and then off it goes. So that's what I've got for you. I don't really see any. Yeah, there's some bullish divergences there. There is some there, so I would expect at least a test into this region, which is indicative of Bitcoin bouncing. So let's move on to REN. Just got to find my REN chart. I can never remember where I put these things. There's REN. This is NIO. That's one I've been trading as well. All right, guys, so we're on the daily on REN. This is the box I gave you a couple videos ago for a bounce. Gorgeous, right? So getting a really nice bounce if you'd have taken that trade, or at least had some orders waiting there down to 88 cents. This is a 49% move. Still looking for this to come up here. Hopefully this $1.50 region. That's a 70% move. Now, will it make new highs? Technically, the uptrend is still intact, as you guys know. So I am still bullish on REN. Everybody wants to know what my targets are at the end of the year. I don't have end of the year targets, guys. I don't make those because we don't know what the market's going to be doing at the end of the year. Nobody truly does. So end of the year targets are absolutely meaningless. They're clickbait, and they have really got nothing. They've got no real analysis, because what they're talking about is a specific time. So end of the year target, that the high of this coin could come in the middle of the year, or in August, and then completely sell off by the end of the year. So at the end of the year, it may be back at these prices after it runs up, who knows, even 2 or 3x, because it's an altcoin, So that's why I don't put any emphasis on end of the year targets, okay, guys? And that's not to be rude. It's just one of those things where I don't like to get ahead of myself, and this is exactly why. I gave you guys $1.75 as where I was taking profits on the second level, and then I was like, if it can claim that level, it might go to 201, but I'm not really looking for it. Well, it went up to $1.84. You saw that there was no real interest up here, and then it just sold off. Where did it sell off to? Well, it hit our first area of interest, bounced real hard, gave you the second area of interest to buy back in. There you go. So this one has been spelled out, in my opinion, very, very well. This is the old range right here, and then we have a current range as well. Let's go ahead and get our ranges up so that we can take a peek. There's our weekly open. Need to hold that low. Weekly open becomes super key, right? And your previous week high was what we needed to get above, we said in the last video, to get a push. So now we are looking to see if we can come up and break these highs, get into this golden pocket region, which would be very, very nice looking for this type of a move. Let's turn off our magnet real quick here. And you guys can watch me do some very poor artistry. So if you can come up here, take these highs, form a high or low, get some form of a double bottom, then you can come up and you've got some, like, almost like a bull flag or whatever it may be at that point. Again, art is not my thing. So REN looks fine to me. And as long as Bitcoin is not dumping to the floor, which it's challenging the key level I gave you guys in yesterday's Bitcoin update, which is 51.5. If we go over to Bitcoin, this is Bitstamp. You can see that the High of this candle is 51,432. So that is where we're at. We need to get through that. Let's go back to REN. If it does that, I expect these coins to go. Now, if this takes out the highs, the next targets for me are going to be $2.12 per negative Fibonacci, which is this the right one? Boop. Yeah, $2.09, excuse me. Then I believe expansion was coming at 201. So this is your next high time frame area if this is to make new highs off of whatever structure it's about to put in here. This is the area I'm most interested in, and then from there, we basically can stair step it up. But that to me is not important just yet because we still have this consolidation to worry about. So REN seems just fine. Let's get rid of our fibs here. Let's get rid of all this mess. And this is our overall range right there. Okay. And what was this? The previous week. This is the previous week here. And what was this? There we go. Let's update our data. So this is your monthly range, which we're now trading above. That's what we were talking about in the last video. You need to stay above this overall range, okay? And so this is the current range that I gave you guys in the last video, tag the median of it. And so need to hold this level. You can see that we put in quite a bit of volume here. I think that the old point of control was right here, which is also where we were trying to buy into. But it has shifted up, which means maybe people were buying the dip. That's what we want to see, right? So that is your February range. Trading above it. If we're trading above it, guys, I did create this range on the fly with you in one of the original videos. And so take that with a grain of salt. I am only human and I'm purely speculating here, right? You got to remember, this is all speculation. So this is what you'd be looking at right here, trying to get back into these areas here to $1.50. If you can get above $1.50 and hold this level, I do think that you can challenge these highs up to this box up here at that 201 to 210 mark. That may take some consolidation, so try to be patient. But do understand that this little box is very key for the immediate term, just like CRO. So we covered that on CRO, right? So should we lose this area, let's go ahead and turn these off, clean up this chart just a little bit. Let's say if we lose these lows, you are then challenging these lows. And to me, these are what I call structural uptrend lows, where if you lose this little box right here, these little guys right here, that is now indicative of a medium-term downtrend. That does not mean it's the end of the overall uptrend, which you can see goes very, very far back. If we go to like a daily per se, what it means is if you lose these lows, you're probably coming down to these lows, which are at 50 cents. And that's a long ways away. So for me, I don't think that's really what we're going to be doing right now, especially with Bitcoin being as bullish as it is. And you can see that right here, we've got really nice high time frame support coming in at these lows. So again, if we lose this box, you're going to these lows and you're probably going to be bouncing somewhere right in here, right? 66 cents. So to me, REN looks fine. I'm not too concerned with it. What I want to see is it establish itself inside of this range, hold these lows, put in some form of a structure, and then impulse out and try to shoot for this over $2 mark. That's what you're looking at on REN. Just trading the range right now, guys. Looking for it to move up, re-challenge the highs of the range that I gave you. Okay, so looking for $1.50 hopefully in the near term. Let's look at XRP, the one everybody wants to talk about. All right, guys, we got XRP up. Went ahead and just set the chart up the way I want it. So you can see that we held the annual pivot here. That was the level that was given to you as the key area to watch for this annual pivot, right? You've got your R1 coming in right where we need it to as well to get topside, in my opinion. So lots of confluence there for these levels. The pivots on XRP get it really, really well. So right now, this is the old range. This is from like, I want to say November. This is November's monthly range, and it gets things so well. You can see that we're butted up against it right now. Need for this to get through. If we can get through this level, I want to see us come up here to about 54 cents. And then from there, I do want to cycle up to 62 cents. And you guys know that I'm looking for weekly closures over this level. I think that's key. We get those weekly closures above these levels. I do think that there's much more upside between 91 cents and $1.22 initially. Then my targets on this overall are about $2.50. So XRP held up really well, in my opinion, in comparison to all the other ones. You can see that you've got, do we have any bullish divergence on this asset? Let's take a peek here. We got higher lows across the board. How are we looking from this point? It's a slightly higher high, higher low. So you can't really say anything The only case you can make is from this region down to this region right here, and then you would have a higher low in place, but this low has to hold. So on a closing basis, you really don't want to be losing. Where did we open up here? 44.7 cents, so about 44 cents. If we go over to Bitstamp, you guys know that was a key area from a macro Fibonacci level perspective. Let's get rid of this stuff. We don't need to look at it. Right, so it's your monthly range low. But if we pull up our log scale fibs right here, 41.326 cents. I said this is the region I want to stay above on a weekly closing basis. Let's go ahead and get rid of this fixed range. We don't need it anymore. And we'll just take a peek at this. So what we're trying to do is hold this level on a weekly closing basis. Really want to see that. Now it becomes a little more crucial for about 44 cents because it's some monthly range lows. So I want to see that level hold. Don't want to be closing 4-hour candles beneath it. But at the same time, it's hard to be bearish on this asset while it's above this pivot on a closing basis. That was the level given to you guys. Now there is a order block to pay attention to that was highlighted in the last video at about 31 cents. Yeah, I mean, really don't want to be rooting around underneath the pivot here, because then I think we are coming down to potentially challenge that order block at like 31 cents, this guy right here. And if you lose that level, you begin to challenge these lows. And again, it's just like all the other assets, guys. If you're looking for an uptrend in the immediate term, you have to hold market structure, because as of right now, you can see we have a low. We have a slightly lower low here, and we have a lower high. So this needs to form a higher low. This has to put in a higher low here, in my opinion. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Otherwise, if it comes down here and takes out these lows, this actually looks more double toppy or like almost head and shoulder-esque, and I would expect us to make new lows. I think this coin would just completely tank. I'm not looking for that. I don't think that's what's going on, but if it starts revealing itself that way in the charts, we have to consider it. So back to Bybit real quick here, just to run it down one more time. Range lows right here. Need to see this 44-cent level hold. If this level can hold, I think we will get back above 50 cents. If we can get above 50 cents, our first target is about 54 cents. Then after that, 62. Want to see that get some follow through and eventually close above it on a weekly basis. And I think XRP is golden. I wouldn't say golden, but I think that it's definitely got a lot of potential upside, and it's been accumulating for a long time. So that's my rundown on altcoins, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed the breakdown. I've given you guys key levels and things to think about as far as market structure goes, and areas of interest to the upside. So like and subscribe. Going to get you guys a Bitcoin Ethereum update. Probably take a look at Litecoin and a few other ones a little bit later on, and see if I can't find any other altcoin gems that sold off and might be looking good right now. So I will catch you guys in the next video. Have a great morning, and I will see you later.